national Broadway tour of the Million Dollar Quartet is through Sunday over at the Civic Center Music Hall, and two of the stars are joining me on a sort of a construction-filled rainy morning here at the Oklahomans Video Studio. Gabe Bowling, Colte, Julian, Carl Perkins, and Jerry Lee Lewis, if you will. Gentlemen, very nice to meet you. Thanks for stopping by this morning.
And thanks for having us.
Let's set this up for those who may not be aware of the Million Dollar Quartet, which has the all-star lineup as we see over there. Pretty big names. What can people expect from the Million Dollar Quartet?
You're gonna get 90 minutes of high energy rock and roll. You're gonna get the backstories of some of the most iconic figures in the history of the music business, and you're probably gonna ask yourself where the 90 minutes went.
You mentioned the iconic figures. We talked about Carl Perkins and Jerry Lee Lewis, but it has Elvis Presley and
Johnny Cash.
Yeah, the biggest names. Now you have an Oklahoma background, right?
That's right. I'm from a small town, Fletcher, Oklahoma, just a little bit north of Lawton, southwest Oklahoma.
Fletcher's one of those towns that we know during storm season in Oklahoma, where you know Fletcher and whatever small town that
Right.
to be. What got you involved in theater?
It really came out of my love for music. I played piano since I was 9 years old, growing up on a farm, and went to school at Oklahoma State, and I was quickly realizing that the grades that I was making in ag business were not that good, and so pursued more along the music lines, and always sang in choir and stuff, and was in my first show my senior year of college, and went on to grad school and worked on a cruise ship, lived in New York, moved to Chicago, and here I am.
I was working on a cruise ship, because that sounds very fantastic.
Oh, it was pretty crazy. Yeah, it was 7 months at sea. You kind of go to bed every night with the ship rocking. It's pretty cool.
Interesting,
nice.
Interesting. Now you say you grew up playing piano. Are you legitimately playing some Jerry Lee Lewis in this?
That's right. Yeah, watched a lot of videos of Jerry Lee, and read some books and stuff to kind of figure out his personality and just kind of the background of stuff, like where a lot of things came from. And I grew up playing piano in church as well too, so kind of like having that similar backgrounds to him. He's a little bit crazier than I am, and.
Well, he had his own style.
Right, he had his own style. But yeah, definitely, I try to recreate as much as I can of all the Jerry Lee stuff.
Is that part of the? Is that just part of the gig when you guys have a new show or something else? The research that you guys go into. Okay, who, especially if it's an iconic, historic person, what were their mannerisms? How did they speak?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's. I mean, you wrapped up, 50% of it just mannerisms and how they speak, and then how they play, because we're really playing our instruments, and how they, what their singing voices are like, and if they got dance moves, that kind of stuff. I have the luxury of most people not knowing who Carl Perkins is, so I'm not under as much of a microscope, but these guys, especially if you're playing Elvis or you're playing Johnny Cash, there's people have their ideas of what that's supposed to look like.
They have their perception of Johnny Cash must talk like this, big deep voice, but blue suede shoes. I mean, they know that song certainly.
Well, they do, but they don't think it's Carl. People think that was Elvis's song.
That's a good point.
Yeah, our show's unique.
You're bitter about that. Just as you slip into character there, I'm a little bitter about that. Million Dollar Quartet runs through Sunday at the Civic Center Music Hall, the National Broadway Tour. What's next for you guys after Oklahoma City?
Well, we get a week vacation, which is good, because we've been pounding out a lot of cities. So we get a week's vacation, then we head to Florida, and we do a week in the villages in Florida, which is the weather's gonna be amazing.
Then we hit Kansas City for a few days, and then we're in Tulsa.
So back to the Midwest after the East Coast.
Yeah.
Interesting. How is life on the road?
Well, man, you gotta covet that sleep is one of the biggest things, and just kind of making sure you take care of yourself, because it's day in, day out, and it's hard. But
so it's a bit like an athlete. You really are taking care of yourself.
Yeah, you can't afford to let yourself go down, because we're singing, and your speaking voice comes into play a lot, obviously, as well, doing theater. We do have understudies, however, on the off chance that we were to be sick or injured. We have people that travel with us, just in case.
Need the backup, Carl?
Yeah, call in the backup, Carl.
Yeah, it really teaches you how to be flexible, for sure. Because every theater is completely different. We have to adjust to that, and every audience is different, so it's a lot of fun.
As we tape this, I believe you guys had a show last night at the Civic Center. How was it?
Amazing.
Killed.
It was the best audience we've had in weeks and weeks and weeks. It was amazing.
Yeah.
Probably helps to have the hometown boy. He had a few of his...
Pretty much had my hometown in the orchestra pit area downstage.
Go. How are the acoustics there? I've heard they are fantastic. But from the stage, how does it sound to you guys?
great.
It's great.
It's one of the better houses.
You get houses like this that were built, 50, 60, or I think that building is really quite old, but being renovated in such a way that it's really awesome. It's so great. I saw shows there. My very first show that I ever saw, like professional theater, was there, and now I get to perform there. It's really incredible to be part of.
That's pretty cool. Before we started here, I was relaying to these guys. I went to Oklahoma City University. Kelly O'Hara, who you've been on stage with before, she's a Tony-nominated actress, currently starring in Broadway, The King, and I talked with her this weekend for an upcoming interview, and I asked her what she would tell aspiring theater majors or people who just want to go onto Broadway or touring, what the main thing she would advise them on. And she said, develop your craft. She says a lot of these days people are focused more on their marketing of themselves, of their personality, or I'm Dave Morris, instead of developing their craft of their talent. You guys' thoughts on people who aspire to be in your shoes?
Yeah, I think that, I would hate to try and even change anything that Kelly O'Hara said. She's right. Yeah. Your craft, neither Colt nor I would be here if we hadn't learned. He's an exceptional piano player, exceptional singer.
Guitar player.
I'm an exceptional guitar player. Thank you. No, but no, you never stop learning. Always, because there are always going to be 1,000 other people that want to be doing what you're doing, and the cream tends to rise to the top, so to speak. That sounds a bit cocky, but I guess what I'm saying is the people who continuously work on their craft and continue to get better, when the opportunities that are created for you are created, you're ready and you're prepared.
Yeah, persistence and being teachable are really important in this business in such a way that you're taught by people that you work with, not necessarily people you work for, and that you learn so much from just being around people and seeing how they interact on stage and off stage, and creating a career for yourself in a way of having a great personality and a lot of talent. So she's right on with trying to build your craft.
And part of that, the building, she goes, it's a process, and like you mentioned, it's learning from the people you work with versus the meteoric rise and try to maintain that. It is.
Yeah, there's no like, oh, I've learned this, now I've got it. Yeah. It's just you never have it. You're always just trying to improve it. And,
you can have a goal, but it's so much more about the process.
What do you guys look for when you step on stage? Whether it's the Civic Center, whether it's Florida, Kansas City, Tulsa, whatever. What are you guys sensing, feeling? What's the sensory perception for you guys when you step on stage?
Well, it varies show to show, but I think Colt would acknowledge that this is a really fun show to do. It's extremely high energy. The audiences generally are very high energy. Sometimes you actually have to struggle just to maintain your wits about you, because you're like, wait, what's coming next? Because there's so much electricity. It's just
we lose ourselves in the moment all the time, and especially being the musicians, the singers, the actors, and the dancers all at once. And it's fun to kind of lose yourself in that, like, oh, what is next? All right, yeah, I've got to do this thing with Carl, and I don't know what I was saying, but it was a lot of fun.
I got lost in the moment of that answer.
I got lost in the moment with it.
Last question, what's next for you guys, individually, career-wise?
Well,
I don't know yet.
It's, our lives are comprised of just auditioning. Basically, we're always looking for work, and then we get work, and we work, and then we go back to being unemployed and looking for work again. So for me, it'll be going back to New York and, getting calls from my agent and going out there and standing awkwardly in an empty room with a few people at a table, singing songs and hoping they employ me.
Million Dollar Quartet is an institution in Chicago and in Vegas now, and still going to be on tour. They're starting new productions all the time. So I think both of us, like, trying to stay in the family would be something cool to try to do. But we're both definitely pursuing other endeavors as well,
just to employing us. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah, right. And keep pursuing our craft in such a way that it's like be able to do more roles in new shows and stuff.
I lied. One last question. Have shows like American Idol or The Voice, have they changed the auditioning process to where it becomes more, you got to nail it from 10 seconds right from the beginning? Has that changed?
No.
I don't know that that's. It's like a chicken or the egg thing. It feels kind of like you're on those awkward auditions for American Idol when you're auditioning for Broadway or for any theater. However, it's probably felt like that. I almost don't know, because I'm like, I almost don't remember what it was like before American Idol because it's been going on for so long now. But yeah, it's kind of like that. And I don't know that it's changed it, but you still have it's the same sort of feeling.
Fantastic, Gabe. Gabe, Colt, mixing up names now. Find these guys, Million Dollar Quartet, at the Civic Center Music Hall. Again, it runs through Sunday. 2 shows on Saturday and Sunday. That's got to be exhausting, right?
But Mother's Day, it's a great Mother's Day gift. So
Perfect Mother's Day
get them
gift,
there.
right?
Yeah.
All right, gentlemen, I enjoyed this. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Absolutely.